powers that are not local. It's not an exaggeration that definitely Uganda has played a critical role in what the RPF-A has done, and the Rwandan invading forces were very much part of the Ugandan armed forces, very well trained, supported by Uganda. What Uganda is doing now in Somalia is not analogous. They are not really supporting a local group. They are imposing their will directly with the full support of the AU, the United Nations, and definitely the US administration is very supportive of that. So there are complications all around, and what is happening in Rwanda and the Great Lakes are not happening in isolation. They are affecting the whole region. They are affecting how the AU is going to deal with African problems and how the United Nations is going to be engaged in peace and security. I'd like to make two more other points. The first is that I'm very much encouraged by what Paul and Theo are trying to do. I think this idea of truth-telling and aiming for national reconciliation is a very salutary sort of endeavor, and they deserve to be helped. But what we have to know is not only the historical backdrop, it's not the context, but we know only too well that the problems are not going to be wished away, that the long road ahead is not going to be easy for the Rwandans or for the Somalis for that matter. What is crucial is the willingness to sit down together, to use peaceful dialogue, to use and to bend over backwards to try to engage in reasoned communication and ensuring that shared power and creating a common political space is what is needed. There are no victors on this. It may be generational. 1959 is not a long time ago. 1994 is not a long time ago. And the killing is still going on. And the creation of conditions that make peaceful resolution of these ongoing conflicts, we are nowhere near that unless there are people of vision, of courage, and faith. I salute somebody like Theo to say that it's not mea culpa as a Catholic, but it's human, and that needs really to be welcomed and encouraged. What I'd like to add to that is that Gramsci, the Italian communist, used to talk about the intellectuals of Italy and Europe should commit class suicide. And what he meant by that was that they have their respective class bases and orientations, and what they all needed was to aim for the higher ground, to engage in destroying the hegemonic culture that existing and was obtaining in Italy at the time and in Europe at the time. And I think probably that's the road forward. And I'm very much encouraged by what Paul, Theo, and other Rwandans are trying to do. We definitely will watch that very carefully. We have a lot to learn from them, and we hope that although the issue of politicizing ethnicity, not only in Rwanda, but the newest country, South Sudan, it has a very, very troubled road ahead of them. That we already hear that the politicization of ethnicity in Southern Sudan the Nuers and the Dinkas is very troubling, and I think that is, as Africans, what we share, and that is where we need to help each other, and hopefully, as a newly minted American, I would very much like to see these people that have given me a perfect refuge for me and my family, and who offered me at least the opportunity to be one of them. I do hope that this country, at this moment in history, will realize what is at hand and what is happening in Africa. I hear very troubling, shrill voices in this country. It's not the best of times for us, and I'm saying this as an American. I think it's time. Was it the Prophet Micah who said, you have to walk humbly with thy God? I think the problems and the global issues that all face us are so enormous. Nobody has a monopoly on wisdom. Nobody has a monopoly on saying that I have 800 number to upstairs. I think it's absolutely essential for us to come to grips with what is happening, what has happened in Rwanda, and more importantly, what is happening, and our prayers and our thoughts are with those who want to be part of the solution and not part of the problem itself. Thank you very much. Paul has to leave fairly soon. He has to take a flight back. So what I'd like to suggest is to invite questions for the limited bit of time we have. I think Paul has to leave at 5:30, is it? Yep. Yeah. So we have about 10 minutes or 12 minutes. So, yes. So we will all stay here, and if you would kindly, the only reason we are opting for these written questions are the experience we had earlier today. I don't think we want to engage in shouting matches here. We want to take advantage of this, and hopefully people will be definitely thoughtful in giving these questions, and then the group here will do their level best to address those questions. And if anybody steps out of this, I'll put on the African dictator's hat. I'll stop them. Anybody has a written question ready? They don't have to be elegantly written, so long as they're eligible, we can at least legible, and we can read. That's the important thing. Yes. I think the logistics of collecting these questions and all of that may be too. So if anybody wants to raise their hand, anybody has a question or a comment?
Prime Minister, maybe I can ask the first question of Paul before he runs off. Okay. What do we know about organizing to build consensus, to build support for the concept of truth and reconciliation? Is this organization going on only in Europe and the United States, or is there some effort to do so in Rwanda itself?
This is a very exciting question. I sometimes like to speak louder. I don't know whether everybody hears what I'm saying. Initially, when I put up the Hotel Rwanda Rusesabagina Foundation, this was around February 2005, almost 7 years ago. My main objective was to help orphans, widows of the genocide. And I even started helping since I myself was a persona non grata in Rwanda. I was going through other organizations, NGOs, helping in Rwanda. And one of those was GFR, Global Family Rescue, which is based in Chicago. We gave them some money to go and pay school fees for children we never knew, we had never met. Our main objective was to help orphans and widows psychologically, so that each and everyone who needs help can get in from my foundation. But when the Rwandan government learned that this money was coming from my foundation, immediately GFR was given 24 hours to shut down and leave the country. Of course, many young people we had been helping, we learned that some of them were disappearing, others going to exile, and this became a problem. So I said to myself, now listen a minute, am I developing this country? Am I helping my people? No. Now how do I help? Let me now help Rwandans to come around the table. Instead of solving our troubles by force, now let us give a chance to dialogue. I'm going to initiate a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. As it happened in South Africa, that was my dream. Then we initiated this in the United States, as Ambassador Flatten says, and he also has been a part of this project. So when we initiated this in the United States, in Chicago, that is when the Rwandan ambassador in 2007 treated the three of us, Ambassador Flatten, Ambassador Kruger. Ambassador Kruger was the U.S. ambassador to Burundi between 1994 and 1996. So he's also one of those people who are very much informed, aware of what was going on in Rwanda, and we were sitting together and we were treated as gun runners. The Rwandan ambassador went even as far as saying that he saw me with Ambassador Flatten, Ambassador Kruger in Cape Town, South Africa, and he even mentioned a date. This was supposed to be January 17th, 2007. He pretended to have seen us. In that time, Ambassador Kruger and Ambassador Flatten had never met. They never knew each other. Ambassador Flatten and myself, we knew each other because we have known each other for years. But myself, I had never met with Ambassador Kruger. So how, in the name of justice and truth, can a diplomat, not any diplomat but an ambassador, say that he saw other ambassadors trading, buying guns, and sending them to rebels in the Congo? So that became very exciting and encouraged me to take it to Europe. In Europe, it was a very big, huge success. But in Rwanda, of course, the Rwandan government fears the truth. That is when you try to tell them the truth, they are very nervous. They don't want to face it. They don't want to sit down and talk. And even to you,